Today we'll cover all the hidden features you need to enable and know about to get the most out of your Z Flip 7. And one of these features might even land you in jail in some states, but don't worry, it won't void the warranty. Basically, I'll walk you through some of the settings that I've enabled and some hidden menu options that can turn your phone into a productivity powerhouse. Before we begin the honeymoon, make sure you've got the latest software update. Just to be sure, go to settings, software updates, and you should have the latest one with no new updates available. The Flip 7s ship with One UI8, which is really just a kind of aesthetic update over One UI 7. We're not going to be talking about little animations and icons in this video, only settings that are actually powerful. So first, go and enable Home Up. It's one of the most important organization and customization upgrades coming out of One UI 7. There is a bug right now where when you download GoodLock and then try to add Home Up, you get an error message. Apparently, Samsung is working on it because your boy let them know, but what you can do right now is go and download the June APK file and then you can get the same results. I've got that one linked down below. Once you have the Home Up app on GoodLock, you can now go and enable DIY Home, and now you can essentially do absolutely anything to customize your phone. That's literally how I made this. I also added Wonderland. It allows you to bring your wallpaper to life and get this 3D effect. Then you can set it as your wallpaper and customize the clock, and separately set your own cover screen wallpaper as well. Although I haven't been able to find a way to get the same effect on the cover screen. Also, if you like these wallpapers of Saga or any of our other packs, they're free. Smash the subscribe button, follow the Instagram, and DM ZF7. That's it. Then I added these widgets, which are super useful. These help streamline my workflow while keeping everything super aesthetic. So take some time and work on customizing. Even if you just use a few tools and create, one or two stacks, it really helps out and you never know until you try. Also, if you want custom stickers like these, literally it's super easy. Download an image off the internet, any image. Then in gallery, press and hold down the image and it'll allow you to save that image as a sticker. Then you can add it literally anywhere on your homepage using the Home Up DIY app. Now, one widget I highly recommend is the Optimize widget under Device Care. It tells you how much memory is being used up, and with a quick press, will optimize and save unused RAM, saving extra amounts of battery and probably also saving your phone from heating up. Another hidden feature, ladies and gentlemen, BackSHOTS. With Registar, also from GoodLock, you can now tap the back of your phone twice and take a screenshot. And tap the back of your phone 3 times and it'll launch any app. For me, 3 taps has it opening up Chrome for me. So I can quickly open Chrome with 3 taps. I'm looking for beds right now. It's just a fast way to get specific actions done, like opening apps, without having to navigate around the interface. Once you get into the world of GoodLock, you quickly find a lot that you can customize, and while admittedly, most of the features are pretty limited to aesthetics, if you wanted to change the color of your themes, of your notification settings, change the transparency of the quick toggles, or do anything else with icons or your fonts on your keyboards, you can do it all through GoodLock. Next, it doesn't matter how awesome your home screen and workflow is, if your battery sucks, you're not getting anywhere. So this is the battery hack that Samsung tried to hide from Flip 7 users, and it's multi-tiered. First, we want to go into light mode. This is going to add a few hours of battery life to your Z Flip 7. Keep this on until you have a steady battery drain, and then you can experiment with the standard mode. That way, the system has a bias to preserve your battery life. Next, if you're really outdoors all day and need the most out of your device, there's another hidden feature that can be enabled. Go into modes and routines and set power saving mode to on when the phone is flipped. This brings power to your fingers when you're using the larger inner display, but throttles back down when you're using the outer display. So on the outer display, your YouTube videos, maps, and even small games will run perfectly fine on the cover, but you'll get back at least an additional hour to 2 of battery. You can also use routines to launch apps when you get to a specific location. Like when I get to the gym, it automatically launches my gym membership app so that I can scan in. Next, a mini feature exclusive to the One UI8. If you're broke like me, you're not paying for YouTube Premium or a Spotify subscription. description, just so you can have YouTube running in the background. Well, now you can open YouTube, play your tunes, and minimize it to 10%. This is going to keep your main app running without losing your podcast or songs, and to open YouTube back up, simply tapping it will bring back the aspect ratio to 50-50. Next, because you have a flip phone, you need to go into Labs and enable Flex Panel. This allows you to do a little bit more when you have your phone flexed. So for example, when you're in gallery, it'll automatically open the trackpad and allow you some easier fine tuning if you're editing images, like, easier image lasso, generative edits, zooming, and a lot more. And when you're browsing on Chrome, it has easy screenshot shortcuts, can act as a trackpad and make signing documents easier. And it has an easy link capture in case you want to copy and share links. Next is the most underrated, unheard of, untalked about hack that's mainly for students: lock in. Okay, there are a lot of AI features, and some of them are overwhelming and some are admittedly just gimmicks. That being said, here's a workflow that works wonders. It's literally how I have a 3.99 GPA in neuroscience. First, AI transcripts. This works when you use Samsung voice recorder. When I record lectures, it'll take the entire lecture and turn it into a transcript, and also creates a summary out of it too. Not so cool. But then you take that entire raw transcript and add it into an AI language model and ask it to create flashcards for you, and boom. You'll have entire study materials, unlimited tests and reviews based on every single lecture. So instead of passively reading through notes of the lecture, you're actively engaging yourself with questions directly from the lecture. That's awesome. And to make this workflow super sexy, you can now add the recorder widget directly to the cover screen. And so begin recording as soon as the lecture starts without flipping the phone open. Yes, sir. Also, I want to talk about some app preferences. First, enable GBOARD. If you're using the English keyboard, drop the Samsung keyboard. I found the Samsung keyboard to be too cluttered, resulting in keys that are too narrow, with way too much going on. The GBOARD is a lot cleaner, minimal, with a few different themes, and also has a really nice clipboard function that can easily be toggled by pressing the numbers, and we can pull up our copy history. So you can have a whole list of all the things you've copied at the ready. Alright, I'm reaching out to you guys from the future, okay? So I realized there's a lot of interest behind the cover display keyboard. So I want to talk specifically about the keyboard on the cover display. First of all, as far as GBOARD is concerned, obviously it's really easy to get GBOARD on the inside screen. GBOARD on the cover screen, however, isn't the same as it used to be on the Z Flip 6 or the Z Flip 5. It's not the same process. It's now requiring a lot more of voiding the warranty. And so because this video wasn't supposed to be about things that you would be able to do, and in doing so void the warranty, we're not going to go there. There is, however, a workaround to get the same GBOARD effects on your cover screen as well, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. If you look at my keyboard, it's a little bit different than your usual Samsung keyboard. And what I've done is use Keys Cafe through Good Lock. That's what you got to do. So with Keys Cafe, you can make the keys themselves a lot bigger than usual. You can also add, like, obviously you can kind of go crazy and add whatever animations you want. As you can see, for me, there's no predictive text anymore. There's also no massive menu covering up half the cover screen. So I got rid of a lot of unnecessary elements that you see with Samsung keyboard. And that's what Keys Cafe allows you to do, is literally edit and customize the Samsung keyboard. So I did that to make it look exactly like my GBOARD. So the keys and all the keys are a lot bigger now. I only have like the basic functions for all my keys. So I don't have things like the global menu or emojis or any of that on my cover screen because I don't use them. And by taking those keys out, they make the rest of the keys a lot bigger. So I have more space to do that. Now, you can also customize what goes on the keys as well. So you can change, like, instead of having an A here, I can literally put a Z here. I can change the keyboard however I want and add my own text. So if you wanted GBOARD to use a different language on the cover screen, you can do that as well. So Keys Cafe is a really good workaround. It's almost just as good as GBOARD, especially because you're able to customize the Samsung keyboard. But what about the interior display? So the thing is, to use Keys Cafe, you need to activate Samsung Keyboard. Open Keys Cafe, and it'll make you activate Samsung Keyboard. If you already have Gboard selected as your default, it'll make you go back to Samsung Keyboard. Go back to Samsung Keyboard, edit the keyboard with the Keys Cafe to make it exactly the way you want to. So that's how it shows up on the cover display. And then once you have the exact perfect, keyboard, then you go back into Gboard and set Gboard as default. So on the cover display, as you can see, it's the Samsung keyboard that I've edited through Keys Cafe to make it really easy to use. But if I go inside, same thing, now it's Gboard. So on the interior display, I'm using Gboard, and on the cover screen, it defaults right back to Keys Cafe, or the Samsung keyboard that's been edited through Keys Cafe. So it's a really easy workaround, no voiding the warranty, no having to go into the root menu and disabling things. You can do it straight from the phone. And it works just as well in my opinion. Okay, now moving into the cover display at long last, first and most importantly and obviously get MULTISTAR. So you can add virtually any app to the cover screen. If there is an app that you don't see on the MULTISTAR launcher, you can still add it through an APK. That being said, there are multiple size formatting options that do allow you to expand the size of whatever you're watching beyond the camera lenses. I couldn't figure that out when I first opened it. But it does help to again add the voice recorder widget here so that you can begin recording as soon as your lecture starts, or as soon as you're kidnapped with minimal friction. I've also got the launcher here for quick access to all of my messaging apps and some entertainments and game apps as well. The entire purpose of filling up the cover screen with relevant apps is to be able to use it more and flip the phone open less. Obviously, that also helps conserve the battery. Now for some camera quickies. Look, I'm only going to talk about the camera from the cover display because these are the only cameras you want to use for content creation and sharing, especially since they're kinda new and a little bit upgraded. First, when you launch the camera feature, you have an option to slide through different zooms, and each time you select a zoom option, the corresponding camera will have a mini animation. So when you select wide angle, the wide angle lens will get a little circle. If you start a video, the lenses will be highlighted red. But here's the hidden feature. Samsung basically added a copycat of Apple's center stage. When you go into your video mode, go into your left-hand options menu and find auto framing and turn it on. Now the camera is going to automatically frame and follow the person around. So it'll track the person from side to side and up and down. Of course, there are some bounds to it, but overall, I've seen it work very smoothly and without much stutter. And by default, if you tap anywhere on the display, it'll take a photo in photo mode or start and stop a video if you're in video mode. But you can turn that off from the same left-hand menu and have actual photo and video icons to start and stop recording. I'm going to talk more about my camera experiences, including video experiences, and how I'm kind of optimizing them in my workflow in my week-long review coming shortly. Also, a private message, if this is specifically for Samsung Hyung. If you're not Samsung, look away. If you're watching, please enable custom colored rings around the camera bezels for notifications. Like if I have an unread email for my business account, I would love to get a red ring, and maybe if I get a customer email, a green ring around the second lens. That would be so cool. Please do that. Finally, the final features. These are mainly for people like me that absolutely hate picking up the phone. I hate talking to people on the phone. Text me, email me, don't call me, man. Look, it'll be someone I know, and I'm not gonna pick it up. So I've added a few features to make my life a lot easier. First is this AI assistant that does text call. It's a feature you can enable in your phone's app settings. When this is enabled, the caller first gets asked why they're calling, and their response is texted to you. So if someone's like, I need help, my leg broke, or I'm stuck in an ice van, I can decline and move on guilt-free. But if they say, oh, I have an anime recommendation, I know, it's something I want to listen in and pay attention to. Along the same lines is AI Transcript Assist. Kind of like with the voice recording, you can now record a call and have all of those calls summarized. So essentially that entire list of anime recommendations are auto-saved in my phone. Basically now you don't need to open up a notepad and write things down or look around the house for a pencil and something to write on. Now my next video is going to be the 1 week update, a breakdown of all the experiences using this phone, from the cameras, battery, heating, and more. So make sure to check that out, and until next time, take it easy. Peace.